today we're switching it up a little bit with our beer stuff. Obviously, we're always an Iowa brewed beer only podcast. But usually we talk about it. We say today's beer is such and such. We crack it open. We get our first taste, and we throw that quick little impression on TikTok. Today, I've seen some TikTok videos, and I wanted to try something new. So I brought the beer tonight, and I know what it is, where it's from. But if you're watching the video, you can tell I have wrapped our cans in tinfoil. Pretty good job, if I do say so myself.
I'd say so, yeah.
So Forrest and Evan cannot tell what our beers are, and we're going to do a little bit of guessing game. I want you guys to open it up. We're all going to taste it and try it, and I want you guys to try and see if you can figure out what this beer is. So let's crack these open.
Do we get any hints? Or?
So I will give some information.
Okay.
This is a brewery we have tried before on the show. And I don't believe we have tried... No, we absolutely haven't tried this beer before.
So it's not a beer we've had on the show.
No, not on the show. I don't believe I personally have ever had this beer before at all. But we have had the brewery on the show.
Okay.
I'm getting some fruit on the nose.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
almost like a sour.
Interesting.
What do you think? Forrest is also the beer expert over here.
I mean, it could be just a flavored.
Before we forget, we need to Skol these beers. I already broke the rule and drank. Skol.
Hail.
All right. So you guys talk it through.
Definitely a sour.
It's a sour. Yep.
Okay.
Which is kind of shocking because Austin is I mean, he's opened up his window of beers, but he's typically not a sour fan.
Sours are not my go-to.
This also doesn't look like a sour. I mean, this looks like kind of like your golden ale, kind of like a Bud Light or something in that category. When I poured it, it did not look like a sour.
Okay.
It's too golden.
I'm just
sour.
I'm trying to pick up what flavor. It's not quite peach. It's maybe like an apricot.
Yeah, I could taste that.
Interesting. Okay. Again, I know what it is. I brought it.
It almost seems like maybe some berry in there too. Do you taste some berry? Like
I do taste some berry.
Blueberry, blackberry.
Okay. Any indication? Sometimes you can tell when you drink a beverage if it's pretty boozy or pretty light or in a good spot. Any indication on how?
I think this one's lighter on the lighter.
5% or less.
I was gonna say probably 5.5.
Okay. Any thoughts on? And I know this might be impossible on a brewery.
Can we ask more questions?
I mean, you can. I'm not going to be too detailed about it because I kind of want you to say, like, if not the beer, I want you to say, like, oh, it's this category for sure. You know what I mean? Like it's a hazy IPA, or I want you to say, like, what.
It's a fruited sour.
I think it's from Big Grove.
Okay, that's your guess. If it were from Big Grove, do you have an idea of what the beer would be, or sour, or seltzer, or whatever it is?
I'm thinking. I'm trying to rack my brain on the different sours that they make.
Okay,
but I'm going with Big Grove on this one.
Okay,
I don't know why. Just
I mean,
I like it a lot, and they pump out some really good beer. So
okay. Forrest, you and I have visited this brewery before. Evan, you and I have not visited this brewery before together. Okay. I don't know if you've ever been. Maybe.
Have you visited Big Grove?
I have not.
We haven't been to Big Grove together. Have you been to Big Grove at all?
I have not.
Interesting.
Nope.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying yes or no to Big Grove. I'll be pretty non-committal on anything.
I'm going to stick with Big Grove.
Is the brewery over or under 60 miles away from our current location?
I honestly don't know.
You should be able to say over under.
I would say under.
Under what?
It's under 60 miles away from our current location.
Oh, it's definitely in Big Grove.
That would be my
gotta-
guess. But I honestly, I could be wrong on that. I don't want to steer you too far away. But that could give you a hint that it's
Over
not.
under 10.
It's definitely over 10.
Okay.
Over 10 for sure.
Yeah.
I'm with Forrest. I'm going to go with Big Grove.
I will say, Forrest, you and I have visited this with our entire families not horribly long ago.
Oh.
Ooh.
So this is Great Revivalist
I mean, maybe.
out of Clinton, Iowa, then.
Mm.
Interesting.
So that definitely would be under.
Would it be under
60?
Well, if it
Yeah.
were Great Revivalist, would that be under?
That would have
Okay.
to be the
All right.
knowing that we visited a brewery with our families.
Okay.
That's the only one that comes to mind.
Okay.
Because you're talking kids and everything.
Our entire families, yeah. Well, like immediate families.
Okay.
I don't
Okay.
know if. Okay, yeah.
I'm trying to think of, because I'm not as familiar with Great Revivalist. We went there once, and now they're just finally starting to distribute their stuff out to.
Well,
the
maybe
local
not get too
Hy-Vees.
caught on the actual location. Maybe focus again more on the beer. So, did you guys both say what you thought it was?
I said fruited sour.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely a fruited sour.
Can you figure out the fruit? It's a definitive fruit.
You said apricot. I said maybe some berry.
Yeah, it's. I'm now getting a little more berry, like you said, as it's
It's also not something crazy like
as it's warmed up a little bit.
It's a single fruit.
it's a single fruit. It's not going to say anything like 10 styles of mixed berry or anything like that. It's going to be a
'Cause
single fruit.
I just went to the store tonight and got my wife a sour that had like 4 things.
Interesting. Okay. No,
Are-
this
are
one
you
is
thi-
pretty
are-
straight to the point.
Is it like a cherry, maybe?
I don't get cherry.
No.
Cherry's for me, it's a pretty strong flavor. Like I can pick cherry out from other things pretty quickly. This one's a little harder to nail down.
Is it good?
Oh, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. I'm
kinda
surprised by how
disappointed-
much I like it.
I'm kind of disappointed that I can't pick up the specific fruit.
Well, I can confirm. Great Revivalist.
Okay. All right.
So thank you, Great Revivalist, for, well, I mean, I purchased it, but thank you for brewing this amazing, delicious sour that I'm surprised that I like. Because it's a sour and I'm not a sour guy.
Have we named the specific fruit yet?
It may have been mentioned briefly,
Okay.
quickly.
I mean, you said like a berry. I wouldn't go wrong. I mean, it could be like definitely like a blackberry.
Blackberry?
The fruit was very quickly named and very quickly just thrown off.
So is it more of a peach apricot?
That seems to be a little more stronger than a berry to me. So I think
Yeah.
it's one of those two.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to my original. My nose at first was picking up more of a peachy apricot
Okay.
flavor.
All right, Forrest and Evan, go ahead and unwrap your beers. Because you're right there. And I didn't think about where we would put the tinfoil.
The Peach Wrangler.
Ah, so what?
Yeah.
The nose, people. I will say, the nose is a better guide than your tongue a lot of the times.
There you go.
You overthought it just a
I did.
smidge there,
I did.
Forrest. So,
Because it smelled like a peach, but it didn't taste like that normal peach flavor.
yep. So this one, let me get the exact name before I read it off. It is the Great Revivalist Brewing Peach Wrangler Sour Ale.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherforker. This is what it says.
That's awesome. That reminds
It's
me
very
of-
good.
Yeah. I like this one a lot. I'm surprised. I knew it wouldn't be bad, but as we've said many times, I'm not a sour guy.
So-
Apparently, maybe I am. I don't
So
know.
what was getting me was, I picked up that peach smell right away,
Mm-hmm.
but then when I tasted it, I wasn't getting that, and it reminded me. I know we wouldn't have because it's not an Iowa beer, but the Leinenkugel's Juicy Peach, and I was
Okay.
trying to associate that, and then when I tasted it, just wasn't that peach flavor
Yep.
that I was expecting. So
So, Forrest and Evan, have either of you had this one before?
I have
To your
not.
knowledge?
Nope.
Okay. And before tonight, I don't believe I had either.
Have either of you had Busch Light Peach?
Yes.
I have, yes.
It's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
It's nothing compared to this.
It's a totally different from
very
from,
different.
10 times out of 10, I'm grabbing this over a Busch Light Peach.
Yes. If Busch Light Peach is there, I would have one.
Sure, it's not bad, but this one's way better.
I would concur, but it's a totally different style.
Sure, yeah.
Yes, this is a sour. It's got that more vinegary bite to it, but
Yeah. But
every
not
once in a
near
while.
as vinegary as what was the one that we had before that was very tart.
I don't know. But yes,
Was it the one my wife got us?
that could be.
The raspberry.
Here, I have our beer list
Yeah.
right here.
It was not terribly long ago.
It's amazing though what the mind does
Oh,
to you,
yeah.
because now that I know for sure it is peach, I'm tasting it like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
on my palate.
So the first video on TikTok I saw, that there's a guy that this is a lot of his content on TikTok, and it does well, is people send him beers and he will do this same thing. They're wrapped in tinfoil. He'll open it up. He'll kind of describe what he's tasting, and then at the end, he like specifically says, "Okay, I think it's this." And the first video I saw of him doing it, he went on this long rant. And he's like, "Oh, this tastes like a cider. It's like a light flavor cider, a hint of fruit. It's actually quite nice. Not too crazy." He opened it up, and I'm pretty sure it was like a Miller Lite.
Okay, that makes me feel a little bit better then.
So, and even he was laughing at himself, like, "I can't believe I overthought that."
Yeah.
But yeah, that made me want to do this. Maybe we'll do this again from time to time.
Yeah, for sure. Blueberry Graham Smacker.
There it is. Okay,
Was the one.
I think that's the one we were saying was.
From
that was
Green Tree.
Yeah, we had that not terribly long ago.
And definitely that was still a good beer in its own right, but on the spectrum of sours, it had more of that acidic kind of truly definitive sour taste to it,
for sure.
whereas this is a little bit calmer. It's a little less
This is a
intense.
nice tartness, nice amount of peach flavor, but it's not one that it doesn't taste like you're drinking a Warhead. You know,
Right,
like
yes.
it's nice. It's refreshing.
Yeah,
So is this a time where I tell you I'm allergic to peaches?
Oh no! Call 911. I feel like I would have known that about you.
You probably did.
You got your EpiPen?
Yeah, right. That'd be great content right here. But yeah, Great Revivalist, great sour. I like it a lot. Peach Wrangler,
Well, thanks.
for sure.
Appreciate it.
Skol.
Skol.
Hell.
So let's give a letter grade to this beer here. We remind our audience quickly what we've been drinking. We've had the Great Revivalist Peach Wrangler, which is a sour ale with peaches. If you didn't join us at the beginning, maybe rewind, go back to the beginning, and we had the cans wrapped in tinfoil. Austin so artfully concealed the identity of the beer and had Forrest and I guess what we were drinking, and it took us a little bit.
You kind of nailed it to begin with. Like,
True.
Forrest
That
immediately
was
said
Forrest.
peach, and then you immediately said it's a fruited sour.
Yep.
And then you kind of talked yourself into other ideas a little bit.
Yeah.
But initially, you kind of nailed it. And it would have been totally unfair to expect you to get the brewery right away.
You know, and not to get us off topic, but have you ever done the Skittle test where you blindfolded and try to taste what flavor?
I have done that.
This is kind of the same thing. You get an idea, and then all of a sudden, I don't know what happens with your taste buds. Your mind starts like playing tricks on you.
I mean, you don't
for
know what's
sure,
behind
so.
the curtain, so you're
Yeah.
trying to
So-
think. You're trying to think what else it could be. But
So anyways, now that we've nearly finished a few each, what do you think? Letter grade on the beer,
Oh man,
and be honest.
I'm gonna give it a solid A minus, and only because of me and not the beer. And I'm being unfair. I'm not a sour guy, but I like it. It's not an offensive flavor. It's not like too vinegary or too puckery. You nailed it with your first, maybe even before you tasted it. You smelled the
it was
peachiness.
a smell. It was a smell. And then my palate failed me.
I'm not a fruity candy guy, but one fruity candy I do like are those peach rings. The gummy peach rings.
Yeah.
Peach might be the flavor of sours for me. That might be it. So A minus in the absolute best way possible for me.
I'm going to give it 2 different grades.
Ooh.
Because I think we have 2 different things going on. I think in the sour category of the sours I've had, I would give it a solid A. So I would bump it up even a little bit higher than you would in the category.
Sure.
Because I typically don't gravitate towards sours either. They're not my favorite in terms of beer, but this one's pretty good. And I agree with you. I like peach. I mentioned Busch Light and the Peach Busch Light earlier. It's a good beer.
Yeah.
I like it. It's not what I grab every time, but especially spring and summer, looking for something fruitier, it's not a bad choice.
Oh yeah.
And so to have a sour with this peach flavor and to be on the milder side of the sours, we mentioned, it's not in your face, it's not intense, it's not super sour, it's not like drinking a Warhead where your lips are like inside out because your lips are so puckered up. This is a good sour. I like it. I will give it an A. On just a full spectrum of all the beers I've had in my life, I'm gonna go with a solid B.
Okay.
On this one, because I don't gravitate towards sours. I can't get behind the vinegary flavor.
Sure. Okay.
I can have a few, but it's not something that I will readily reach for at the store.
If we ever go to Great Revivalist as a show and friend of the show trip, you're probably not going to order the peach sour on
I'm
draft.
probably not. I'm going to look for an amber, or I'm going to look for an IPA, or I'm going to look for...
Great Revivalist has some great beers other than
They
this.
do, and we've had some. So this isn't a knock against the brewery. It's not even a knock against the beer, because I think in the category, it's a really good beer. But just because I don't like sours, they're not my top preference. A solid B.
Sure. Okay.
Solid B.
I like it. Now I'm probably going to be the negative Nancy here.
Oh no.
It's all right.
No, I honestly I think the beer is fine. As I've drank through it all, I am a sour guy. I like sours. I've had a lot of sours. I think for me, it falls a little too light for a flavor profile.
Okay.
The sourness is there, and I think they got that down. But I would really like to get a little more fruit flavor.
Okay.
I've had fruited sours where you pour it in and it's thick, and you really get that fruit flavor. Where I feel like it's like a imitation flavoring. In my mind.
Okay.
So I'm not knocking it to a point. I do enjoy the beer as a whole, so I'll give it a B minus.
Okay.
But from a category of a sour, I'm on the opposite. I'd probably, from a sour perspective, I'm probably gonna give it probably like a C plus, just because I think there are much better fruited sours out there. Okay. From my perspective.
So you would tend to go towards those ones that kind of taste like a Warhead, or
I really need to. I will say go, and I'm once again, I'm not trying to knock brewery for brewery. I like Great Revivalist fine. I've had a lot of their beers when we were out in Clinton. I think their beer is good. I think they maybe are not as seasoned to make a good fruited sour. So my recommendation would be to try Big Grove's fruited sours and try to taste the difference. I think Big Grove has just, I'd say, more seasons to perfect that.
Sure.
And you probably will taste a difference. What I'm trying to say is you'll get more of that fruit flavor depending on what you get. So
okay. Yeah. Well, as someone who I've had the Bud Light Peach and enjoyed it. It's nice. It's refreshing. If you gave me the choice of this or the Bud Light Peach, I'm going to thoroughly enjoy drinking many of these, or a responsible amount of these. This is light and refreshing, and I think in the same way that you're kind of knocking it as a sour, I think the light and refreshingness is kind of shielding my non-sour loving person in making me really
that's
like
the beauty of it is it can hit on those those types of spectrums.
Yeah.
For a gateway type sour where you're not fully into it.
Yeah.
This would be a better one for those people that are just now really getting into the sours. I would definitely recommend this for that.
Like if this one were any more in your face with the peachy or the soury, if it were any puckerier, if I just made up a word, I don't know if I'd like it so much. So
Gotcha.
I think we're both saying the same things. It's just our personal preference.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of beer is, and that's why I love all the different varieties of it.
There's a beer for everybody.
Absolutely.
Something to look forward to.
That is true. That is
Yeah.
All right, boys. It was a good episode. Thanks for coming on, Forrest. Open
Thanks.
door anytime.
Thank you.
Till next time.
Skol.
Skol.